The secret of genius is to carry the spirit of a child into old age, which means never losing your enthusiasm. Aldous Huxley said that quote. Welcome to episode number 36 of the Make It to Midnight podcast, and I am honored, I'm blessed to be able to bring you guys another interview with another one of my favorite people out there. This interview is with my guy, Brogan Roback. Brogan is a former NFL quarterback, former Eastern Michigan star, and current host of the Rush podcast with Maxx Crosby, which is an amazing podcast that you guys need to go check out. Brogan is one of my favorite people. I met him a few years ago just in the podcast world when the podcast I work for went to go interview Maxx Crosby. Now, he and Max are friends from their college days. They started a podcast together. Brogan is one of the main engines behind that. But the number one thing you're going to notice about Brogan is the enthusiasm. You know, I love surrounding myself with enthusiastic people, and that is why I wanted to do this episode with him. He's awesome, man. He's genuine. He's kind-hearted. He's got all of the tools for success, but not that standard definition of success that too many people are chasing. The real version of success that shows up in the day-to-day with that peace, the peace in the heart, the peace in the mind. Those are the people that I admire the most, and that's why I got Brogan on this show. He's got all that. I think you guys are really going to enjoy this interview. Make sure you leave a comment, subscribe. Shout out to all the new subscribers. We had an awesome episode last week with Jake Chatsky from the New Heights podcast. His story was incredible. Overcoming open heart surgeries, overcoming job rejections, overcoming so many different things, and keeping the same thing I've just been talking about, that optimism, that enthusiasm to get to where he is now. So go check out that interview. And I have another very special interview coming up next week. So we got a lot of things going. Thank you guys so much for the support. Thank you for all the new subscribers, for all the comments on the last video. It truly means more than you know. And I fully believe with my whole heart that we can change the tone, change the voice of the internet for the good. We can end doom scrolling. We can contribute to ending the loneliness epidemic. And I'm excited to have all you guys here with me. I hope you guys enjoy this interview with Brogan Roback, and I'll see y'all at the end of the video. Welcome back to another episode of the Make It to Midnight podcast. I'm fired up for this one because I got my guy, my Brody, Brogan Roback, co-host of the Rush podcast, but more importantly, incredible human being with an incredible story that we're going to get to dive into on this week's episode of Make It to Midnight. Brogan, I appreciate you coming on the pod, bro.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me. Hey, I'm a big round of applause guy, so we're just going to do one of those really quick for
Come
you
on.
and to Make It to Midnight. I appreciate you, bro.
Let's go. After the episode, I'll definitely have to get your address so I can get you one of my crew neck with the.
Please, I'll
with
rep
my
it
Make
with
It to
pride.
Midnight. Yeah, I love it. And we were talking about it just before, but you've got to indulge me because before we even knew each other, obviously I'm a diehard football fan. For those that don't know, Brogan was a quarterback, highly recruited quarterback coming out of high school, played at Eastern Michigan, then went on to the NFL. And he has one of my favorite moments from one of my favorite shows, and that is Hard Knocks when he was with the Cleveland Browns. Dude, take me through it. Obviously, we're all kids. We all grew up playing football. The dream is to go to the NFL. We'll get into a little bit more of your story because you had a horrible injury at the end of your senior year. But talk to me about the Hard Knocks moment, what it was like when you were getting told you were going in, that you're going to play that game. Break down the whole thing for me.
Yeah, no. First and foremost, I appreciate you tuning in. A hard knocker to another hard knocker.
Sir.
I can appreciate that because it's funny, man. When you're in college and you're in two-a-days or you're in camp, and the goal is to play in the league, all the guys huddle up at night when you're living your worst life possible. That is, of course, with no AC and all the above. You're watching Hard Knocks together, right? And you're seeing JJ Watt and you're seeing, Aaron Rodgers and all these guys that you look up to or you've idolized your whole life. So when I got to the Browns and obviously got to share the room, Baker and I were rookies together. So as you know, there's a frenzy already going on in Cleveland. I'm from Ohio. I'm from Toledo, the best side of the state, that is.
Come
the
on.
other side. I had to talk my shit really quick. But honestly, man, it was weird because I come from Eastern Michigan. Like you said, there's not a lot of cameras. There's not a lot of glamour, to be honest with you, man. It's a blue-collar city. You grab your lunch pail, that whole ordeal and go to work. That's kind of like the whole mentality behind it. And so I kind of carried that into the league. Obviously, thought I was going to get drafted, ended up going undrafted to went to the Ravens for about a week and a half and then found my way to Cleveland there. So when I did that, man, I remember to this day, the cameras are following you at all times, right? So it's 5 a.m. You're rolling in. You think you're good. You got sleep in your eyes. You look terrible. It doesn't matter. They're already rolling. They're already rolling, and they got them hooked up in the room, as you already know. So first and foremost, we used to try to avoid the rooms with the cameras because
Yeah.
not all of them have it. So Drew Stanton, Tyrod Taylor Baker, and Todd Haley and myself, we would try to find rooms constantly. It felt like we were jumping media rooms every single day. But honestly, fast forward a little bit, Tyrod didn't want to do too much on the camera. Obviously, Baker really had no choice for certain things he was doing. But Drew Stanton, man, shout out to Drew Stanton. It's funny because he's a 40. Okay, I'm aging him. He wasn't 40. I love you, Drew.
He was
But
on. He was Unk on the team.
yeah, man. He was Unk. He was by far Unk. Had the status for a couple of years. Let's just put it that way, right? Respectfully, but he put me on, man. He said, "You're going to do this. If you don't, you're getting fined in the room, essentially." And being a good rookie, just trying to do my due diligence. And really, at that point, it was the RV. So we had the RV, and they wanted a tour of it, and I thought it was a good opportunity to kind of MTV crib it up.
Definitely.
Kind of troll, make fun of the situation. I have no idea what's going on. Last time I did anything like that, I think I was 10 years old at my cousin's house, and you're making stupid videos, right? So, and next thing I know, man, then it followed the next week when it released, the very first episode. I was still in the building and got back to the hotel, and Hard Knocks is doing their whole ordeal at the hotel even. And I woke up that next morning, man, and probably had 25,000 new followers and just things I've never really experienced, right? So that was a lot, but really then I signed, just fast forward through everything, just signed a few endorsement deals, and it was kind of like, hey, this is the business side of the NFL, and this, you're no longer going to class. And as weird as it was for me, it made me grow like exponentially in that period of time. Like, yes, I am a very outgoing person, loud person at times.
Right.
But at the same token, that's a world, like I said, that is so unfamiliar to me. And that's not really why I was there. But I try to use that in the best way I could and for business purposes, but also just to show people who I am. Because to your point, I broke my ankle in the last game of the year, and I was supposed to go to not the Senior Bowl, the Reese's, but the one at the Rose Bowl, which is probably the step down.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Southwest or whatever.
I know, I'm forgetting the name of it, but a
NFLPA.
couple of my Gamecocks are in there.
Yeah. The NFLPA Bowl, I think, is like what it was. And couldn't do that, couldn't go to the combine. So essentially you miss your FaceTime with all those people, and you have your meetings, and it's so funny, it's ironic. Obviously the combine's going on right now as we're talking, or wrapped up. But that's the part that I never really understood that I was missing out on, right? I was bummed because I want to go to the combine. I want to go to play in this game. I want to showcase my talents, and I wanted people to see it. You're 23 years old, and you think your shit doesn't stink. And I think that's, and I'm sure we'll talk about a lot of, but that's stuff you learn over time and throughout your process. But very grateful experience for that, man. And like I said, they got to see who I was without my helmet on, which I think helped. And then if you take care of business on the field, that also helps at the same token. So super awesome experience. Super grateful to Drew, even though I'm not sure if it was meant to set me up for success or failure at the time. But I'm going to roll with the success part, because after that, man, he took me in the off season and took me to his quarterback coaches. And those are the same guys like Pat Mahomes works with. And so just another opportunity for a vet who must have saw something in me, or maybe he went through his own experiences, and maybe people didn't look out for him the way that he wanted them to, right? And that's a guy, Drew Stanton, that has been around 4 number 1 overall draft picks right there at the quarterback position, So Andrew Luck, Baker, Carson Palmer, and I know I'm missing somebody else, Matt Stafford. So yeah. So it was cool, super awesome. And like I said, I think my wife got more FaceTime than I did. So it was good. It was good to put her in the trenches and see what she was all about.
Let's go, man. I love it. And, we've alluded to breaking the ankle at the end of senior year, and this might be the answer to this question, but just talk to me about one of those low moments or hard moment in your life. And then in that time, you couldn't believe it happened. It's just a why me moment. But as we go down the road, we realize, man, maybe it was our best lesson. What are some moments like that for you?
Yeah, man, I think that's a great one. That one for sure sticks out the most, because I don't want to say it derailed the game, but it just threw an obstacle. I would never say it derailed. That's a stupid way because you control everything else that
Mhm.
that comes afterwards, right? But definitely a why me moment. To your point of, I've never broken a bone in my life before that. Now I've broken my fingers and stuff that I don't really count those.
Right.
You know, that just kind of comes with the territory. But first time ever, man, and the timing of it, and I just, you work your whole life for something like that. But I would say another moment in time was man, I wasn't doing things the right way at Eastern. As you know, like
Mhm.
I was a 4-star coming into Eastern. I was 11th ranked quarterback at that time, and
Their
I probably
highest
could have hated
recruit like
myself.
ever, right?
Yeah, like coming in, yeah, highest recruit ever,
Yeah.
technically. And I would have probably thought, looking back on it now, that I was a huge douche, right? And I think that's, to be fair, that's something I take with me now, is being like, just having like that perspective on how you used to handle yourself. And I'm
Mhm.
sure we all look at ourselves at the age of 18 to 22, we're probably thinking very similar. So
Yeah.
I'm sure there's others that think that, but thought I was doing everything in my power the right way and trying to be one of the guys. But being a quarterback, you can't always be the guy, right? So long story short, man, just I end up popping on a drug test for smoking weed in my junior year. Yeah, my junior year. And man, this is our offense coordinator, Kalen DeBoer at this time, who's a head coach for Alabama, which and he's been my OC quarterback coach for the last couple of years. And I'm starting to see something, right? And mind you, we didn't go to a bowl game. Eastern hasn't gone to a bowl game in 30 years.
I
And
also need to remind the listeners that we're also talking to a record holder at Eastern
I
Michigan, one of the most accomplished quarterbacks in the school's history. That
I appreciate
continue.
you. I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate that. But yeah, man. So that place isn't used to winning. And long story short, I address my team, I cry in front of my team, and you might not know this, JP, but you might, because you can get to my softer side. It's just something about you, but not much of like the crier world.
Mhm.
If I am, I'm going to go in a corner and no one's going to know. That's just how it is for me.
Right.
And so to get in front of them and kind of be vulnerable in that moment. But you know what's crazy? I fast forward and I had to sit those first two games. The second one happened to be against Missouri down the SEC. And that's the games you want. And like, especially you want to have the film against those teams. And I want to see where I stack up at this point.
Right.
And I'm sitting in Toledo, where I'm from. Shout out Toledo, the best city in the world, like I
Come
said.
on.
And I'm having a beer and I'm watching my team play. And I literally have one of my buddies who I love dearly, but he's a degenerate. And he comes up to me and he says, "Wow, you're drinking a beer and you're watching your team play. You probably feel really good." And it's kind of like one of those tough love moments where I wanted to just tee off on him, because I'm like,
Mhm.
what a douchey comment. But at the same, I'm the douche, right? Or I'm the one that's not acting correctly. And I think in that moment in time, man, I was just like, what are you doing, bro? Like,
Right.
you're going to piss it all away. And more importantly, like, if your friend who loves you to death, who's not on your team, is saying that what does everyone you go to war with every single day with think about you, right? And I think from that moment on, man, it was just, and that's one of the quotes. I know we talked ahead of time, but like, and it's not even a quote, it's more of a lesson that I got from one of my coaches. And it was like, it's okay to be one of the guys, but you can't be one of the guys. And we had Johnny Manziel on our show, and we talked about this before with him, and that's something that stuck out to me because Johnny and I move very similar in ways, right?
Mhm.
Johnny's Johnny, of course, but like, I can understand the let's work hard, play harder mentality, right?
Right.
So but to that point, man, it was like, it's cool to want to hang with the guys, go to dinner with them, and go drink and have beers with them. But like, when guys are trying to do things the right way, don't be the one to come and make them do bad shit, or put them in a bad situation. And that was something that I just, from a leadership standpoint, from my own standpoint, I just had to learn. And unfortunately, I'm a guy who learns the hard way.
Yeah.
Typically, 9 times out of 10, it just doesn't sink in until then.
Right.
You
And
know?
what take me a little bit to the moment when you are going to speak to the team. Was
Yeah.
that encouraged by a coach like, "Hey, Brogan, you need to address the team"? Was that something you took upon yourself? And then talk also about maybe what you were expecting the team's response to be versus what the response really was.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great question, bro. I think the coaches didn't tell me, right? Like, I was doing my punishment as far as sitting out I had to wake up every morning for 4 weeks in a row and do all the also extra conditioning on top of it. But I lived with all linemen, the starting linemen, right? So those are your boys.
Right.
Those are the guys who protect you. They're the heartbeat, in my opinion, of every team.
They put their body on the line for you every single day.
They sacrifice their bodies to glorify literally my soul, the running back's soul, and everybody else's soul because they don't care to get that recognition, right? And I just remember like just watching them every day and going to work, and those are my boys, those are my brothers. They didn't have a shitty thing to say towards me, about me. They understood, right? But at the same token, now, my coaches are like, I don't know how you're going to get the trust back. That was their way, right? And I think they left it open-ended where it's like, it's your problem now, or it's your duty now to go out there and find a way to relate, to earn their trust back. Because these guys are going out to week 1 after waiting all offseason to go to war with you and their starting quarterback. And now you're not even playing, not only the first, but the first couple,
Right.
And for me, I thought, well, this I think where I learned it, like just eating the frog right away, man. Just like starting my day. And that's how I would move now. And I've learned it from that moment. And I used to be very controversial. I'd love to go in the locker room. And if you're talking about Kobe or Michael, I'm talking LeBron immediately, right? Like,
and I'm with you.
Thank you. That's because you're a smart man and you understand. But no, man, just to that point, like I just wanted to address them. And then there's part of me that at the same time is like, they're not going to listen to you. They're not going to believe you. They're going to think you're trolling, you're doing it because you have to. Because let's just keep it a buck with each other. I was always smoking, or I was, if we were going, I was drinking. Like I was doing those things, and they're going to say he's just checking it off the list. And I think when I was able to, I didn't expect to get emotional. I didn't even know what I was going to say, to be honest with you. I was essentially just going to go in there and be like, hey, I'm a dumbass. I know I am. I'm sorry to all of you. And I think in that moment, man, when you see everybody's face and it's right after a workout in the dog heat of summer and you're not getting ready for a game, and it's literally like for the love of the game. Right. Like in that moment, man, I think I just spoke from the heart, let them know, like, I'm feeling the hurt from all of you. That was the most important thing. And that's it wasn't that I wasn't going to play in those games. It wasn't that I was going to lose out on film for the next level or any of that. It was truly that they counted on me and I completely played around with that trust. Right. So, that was a huge pivotal point in my life, man. And I try to just, if I say I'm going to do something, I do it now. If there's something I don't want to address, instead of letting it linger all day or be passive aggressive about it, whatever that might be, I try to just eat that frog early on. And I'm a people pleaser, man, at heart. So it's really hard sometimes to just go out there and know you're going to piss somebody off or disappoint them. That's hard for me. It's really
hard, dude. And isn't it so funny though? Like especially as guys, we're very afraid to be vulnerable in front of our boys. But every single time that you do decide to have the hard conversation, to get vulnerable, the relationship goes so much deeper. And it's one of the beautiful things about sports and leadership. And it can kind of go into one of my next questions about leadership. And you kind of hit on it, doing what you say you're going to do. Yeah. But what are 3 things that you look for in a leader that is going to make them somebody that you will follow?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think the first one, it's not on my list, but I have to say this, and I say it with all respect. You got to walk the walk if you're going to lead. I don't care. Like, if you're not a playmaker or you aren't going to make a play when team needs it, or you're just not, you got to be a guy is my point. I just think that alone gets everyone's attention. Now, to your point of things that I think make a great leader, the first and foremost is, and I think that's part of it, is being charismatic. Not everybody has it, but you need to have people that want to follow you. And I think that's part of being charismatic. And part of that for me personally is having energy, bringing the juice, like being a culture king. I've always I can't tell you the amount of times I came into a workout in the morning, or even now with the pod or whatever it is, and Max or my family or my wife or my friends are all like, dude, you're the fucking Energizer Bunny. Like, relax. Or where do you get all the juice from? And I think it's super contagious. And I see it on people's face who look like they're moping around. As soon as I feel like I might be trolling or overdoing it
Yeah.
because I'm trying to get a reaction out of you a little bit. And it's funny on my end, but on a serious note, you could really see how much that affects people and how much maybe they might need it. And that's something that other people aren't typically doing. And if they can see that from you, they're going to be like, I like that. I like your energy. How many people do you know, JP, that are like, I'm a big energy person. I'm a big energy person. You might be one.
Yeah. Too many people that I know that say they're a big energy person. And then too many times when it's time to bring some energy, when things are going bad, the energy's not there. But man, I mean, you're spot on, because there's only so much we can control in life.
Yep.
And the number one thing we can't control is the energy and attitude you bring. And it goes for not only sports, you know, it goes to business, to whatever job you're doing. And it will just always blow my mind. It's like the more energy you have, the more positivity you bring, the harder it is for somebody to let you go.
Hey, Matt, I'm so glad you just said that, actually, JP, because I was going to say, you know how many times I've been in a quarterback room and it's came down to it. Trust me, I've been cut 6 times, something like that. And they've been like, dude, you're really good for our room. People love you in here. Or whoever the starting guy is, like, they really love like being around you. And in that moment, I used to be like, screw that. I don't want to hear that. But then I started going in, like, to your point, into the business world and doing all that stuff. It's like, you know, there's something to be said about that. There's something to be said, because how many times do you go into somewhere and you might turn around because you see someone down the hall and you're like, nah, not today.
Right. You want to surround yourselves with optimists, not pessimists.
Exactly. And unfortunately nowadays, you know, misery loves company, right? So you can walk into a corner and you got 3 people bitching about the boss. Are you going to be a part of that? Or are you just going to be the one that's providing uplifting juice? And that's kind of like where I'm at. But the other 2 things, I would say resilience, and that's battling through adversity, and because that's striking no matter what, man. And I think the quicker you can learn how to handle it, the better off you're going to be. Avoiding it, you'll be running the rest of your life. Literally, Catch Me If You Can, Leonardo DiCaprio, that's you. You know?
100%.
And then integrity, man. I think the biggest thing is just being honest with integrity. Is obviously, you know, what you do when others aren't looking, that whole slogan deal. But to me, it's being something that they can count on. I can call you if me and my girl are having a problem, and I can come stay at your house, or I ran out of my scholarship money, or my rent's going to be late. Like, can you please get me? And just being that person for them. But also at the same time as you're being authentic. Like, I think part of that is being authentic and genuine to people. Because as soon as you sniff out the bullshit, all the credibility goes out the window with it. We talk about it all the time with coaches, and players are the first ones to be able to sniff that out. And I just feel like my mind's kind of brainwashed. Now anybody I look at can see through the bullshit, right? So I think and then the last thing for a leader, if we're talking especially from a football standpoint, and I think it goes along with the integrity, is like putting in that work. There's so many times guys would go up in the morning and you're working out for 3-4 hours, and I know it's hard, but then they're not coming back and putting in any more work on the football field until that next morning when they have to for the mandatory shit. And I used to tell people, like, no, we need to be back up here at 3 p.m, 4, 5, 6, 7. I don't care when, but we either watching, if your body's hurt, then we got to watch film. But if not, then you got to run routes on air or do cone drills or whatever it is, right? And I think there's a lot of guys who say they're putting in work and they're doing X, Y, and Z, or they're posting that they're putting in this type of work.
Right.
But the results, the cream always rises to the top. That is my favorite thing I've ever heard in my life, is the cream will always rise to the top. And there's many meanings. You can take it to however you want, but that's something I live by, and I know that it's the truth. And I think those are the 3 things. If you have those, no question about it, I think you're set up for success. And there's plenty other things as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. And who would you say, you know, it could be a youth coach, could be a college coach, could be a teammate, friend, who in your life do you feel like exemplifies some of these traits?
That's really good, man. I think for sure, easy answer, my college coach, Chris Creighton. He came in from D2, didn't drink a beer, didn't do any of these things.
And was he corny at first to the guys, or was he an immediate,
brother,
everybody's in?
Super corny, right? Like, he's a white man who came from Drake University, where they paid to play. And he's coming to Ypsilanti, which is right next to Ann Arbor, without the white picket fence, right? Like,
right.
It's right there. It's Wayne County, and but he stayed true to who he was. As much as, dude, he came into there the first time, and he told us his first time having a beer was when he was 40, and he said something else I'm not going to share, but he's mentioned something else that he never has done or didn't do. And guys on the team literally went and burst out laughing, and it didn't shake him at all. Not one bit. And no one believed. And then over time, all the corny stuff, dude, we got put on SportsCenter, not top 10 the very first year with him on game 1, because he had this vision of swinging the hammer. They still do it. You probably have seen it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
they swing it through the concrete block, essentially. Well, it took us 20 million tries and ended up being on not top 10. And we went in there the next day, and we got butchered on top of it. So we go in the team room, and we're like, Coach, you're seeing this, right? Like, we can't do it next week. And he literally looks at us, he goes, that's exactly why we're doing it next week. That's exactly why we're doing it next week. And, and at that point, it's a lot of egos going on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm one of them. I'm like, yeah, I'm out. I'm standing as far back as I can. But now you look at it, and it's a statement. It's a thing they do. But I think being unwavering in those qualities and not letting a bunch of punk 18 to 22-year-old kids
right
bully your thought process, and that goes for everyday life. And then obviously the other person that I got to live and grow and see every single day of my life was my dad. He's been a coach my whole life. He's been the varsity football, basketball coach my whole life. I grew up in the gym. I grew up on the sidelines, being a ball boy, literally my whole life. So I come from a coaching family, and I hear every quote, you want to be good, someone else is working out just as hard as you right now, all those things. Like, I grew up with that, but I think that's so huge in what happened in my life. And I think now, to your point, JP, on why things happen, especially with the ankle and all that, I try to look at it now, which it took a long time. It took a long time. But I try to look at it in a way where I got to a certain point that no one in my dad played football and basketball on a full ride to Western Michigan. Like,
right.
he's
family of athletes.
Exactly. Sister played volleyball Eastern, was All-American, all that stuff. Like, great volleyball player. And my mom's obviously same. But I learned that I got somewhere that maybe I got a little bit further than my dad, right? Or whoever you want to look at, whoever kind of motivates you to get to where you want. And I never understood why, but now I understand. Maybe I could be wrong, but my son or my daughter now I know what's going on. I know what to look at. I know how to handle the agents. I know how to handle what school to pick. I know what to look for. I know on a mentality basis, like, how to strain now, how far you need to be able to push yourself, physically, mentally, emotionally, all those above. And I think maybe that's God in a weird way, just being like, Definitely. Hey, brother, it wasn't your time. And I'll be fair with you. There's times where I look at, I've never said this, but I'll look at Max, and he has the biggest heart in the world, man. I say it all the time. And I've said that since he was little bro at Eastern with bleach hair and a man bun, but
y'all were both rocking the blonde hair.
Yeah, facts. Hey, all natural though, baby. Come on now. And but no, dude, he's just a solid dude. And I think that doesn't matter who you are, how big you get, what you do in this world and what you leave afterwards. And people say legacy, but people wrap that up into what you can accomplish, right? And I think really what you can do to inspire other people, but more importantly, just make them feel wanted, needed, important, all the above. And that's the things I've learned, and those are things I'm just going to pass on. So I try to find the silver lining in it all, so to speak.
I love it, man. What we'll stick on this for just a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm scrolling through because I'm trying to write things down as we're talking, so I can make sure I don't miss something after you've said it. But what is something, because obviously your dad, amazing leader, amazing father. What is something that you just couldn't stand when he was telling you, maybe when you're younger, when you're in college, he's trying to coach you up, and it's just like, dude, please, you have no idea what you're talking about. And then now, sitting in the seat you're in now, you're like, man, he was right. I should have listened earlier.
That's a good question, man. The first thing that comes to mind, I don't know why this is it at all. I really don't. But he used to say to me all the time as a little kid, don't have any regrets. You don't want to have any regrets.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking specifically on a sports basis, obviously.
Right.
But he's like, There's some things I wish I had back. And in my head, I'm like, I'm busting my ass, or I'm not going to have those regrets, or that's not how I look at things. And um, I don't have a whole lot of regrets, man, but there was times going through certain things and going through even the XFL and putting myself in bad situations or putting myself in a bad train of thought on worrying about, well, my signing bonus should be this. This guy's getting this, or I should be playing in front of this guy, or whatever it is, instead of enjoying the process, the journey. I used to be obsessed with that, like in this moment, looking back, of course, but like I used to be absolutely obsessed with that. When I went to Eastern Michigan, yeah, sure, I was the 4-star high school, whatever. I didn't think I was going to the NFL. I didn't think shit about it. It wasn't even honestly on my mindset. Yes, I wanted to play in the NFL since I was a little kid, but like I was so wrapped up in, can I even play Division I? Can I be a quarterback? Like, can I learn the playbook? Can I do these things? I was so in the journey. And I think that those are some things where then I was like, miss me with it. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, you might have regrets. I'm not gonna. And I'm sure those are things I probably said like an asswipe. I'm sure I did. And I love my dad, and I'm take some serious patience to not probably want to just be like, go screw yourself, like you don't have the answers, even though I thought I did. That's one, man. I think the other one that I used to hate, and not really hate, I think it was more so I didn't understand. And this is, I've heard from many others, and you probably have too, is just control the controllable. And I'm like, okay, cool. Yes, I'm controlling what I need to. But I think over time, and that kind of the things I was hitting on to you, like with the financial part and the roster and all those things, or what team I'm on, those are things you don't control. And those were things I was worrying about. And it took away from my joy of the game. I literally was starting to lose my love for the game because all I kept thinking was, oh, it's just a business. Oh, the NFL is a dirty business. Like I loved everything about it when I was in it. But as soon as like I wasn't getting the traction or the love anymore, you would think I had a picket fence out front of the NFL office. It's like, I hate them. And it was just really because the love and the passion you have for the game. And then I think mixed in with it, you start to finally sit with your thoughts and you're like, man, I should have done this.
Yeah.
Even better. And you got to face the music.
Definitely. And you said, you kind of alluded to it as you were talking through, but just, it took you a while to kind of face those things. When do you feel like you did turn that corner, and what was kind of going on in your life at that time?
That's a great question, man. I think,
and it might not be just one moment. It could be, a couple of years where things are going on.
I got to be honest with you, man. I would argue and say that it's something I still work on. Like I've been removed. I'm trying to think, 5 years removed from playing, I think. Yeah. Right around then, COVID. Yeah. So, I think I still deal with it, man. I think it just comes in weird ways. Like I think you retire from the game, but the game never retires you, like from you, like I have moments where I'm good for a few days. And then there's other times where I see something or I just, it's so weird. I used to say, when people go, football doesn't it's not my identity or all this stuff. I used to tell people it is.
Yeah.
And people look at me like I'm crazy, but like there was no plan B. I was so bought in, and I think everybody should be that way. Now you should probably have a plan B. Don't get all the answers from me, but I think like that's how obsessed you have to be with it. And I think when you're obsessed with something that much and you're passionate about it, it's something you love as a kid. Like it's a kid's game. So it doesn't matter if I could go make $1 million in the stock market world, but it doesn't fire me up every morning like it would be to go lace my shoes up to go run 100-yard sprints, which sounds shitty in itself, but like it just doesn't do it for you. And it's really the camaraderie with those guys. That's the part. And I think, and you know this better than anyone, JP, and we've had this conversation months back about the pod, but it's like the camaraderie. And that's what and that's what we're trying to build every single day. That's what we're trying to build every day, is that camaraderie in our environment, in our workplace. If you even want to call what we all get to do is work. It's a dream, to be honest with you. But like, now I kind of have an idea of like, okay, this is what I want around me. This is who I need to be. And I think realizing too, like I get to have my fix of still being around the game now. So many people wanted me to coach, and I thought about it, man. I really did. But
That schedule.
Yeah, it's to be honest with you, that's what it is because I came from a quarterback spot, and all guys that played in the league, they know, or even just in general, your time is so consumed since you're a little kid. You're gone on the weekends when your friends are figuring out and having their first beers or whatever it may be. You're probably at some camp in Indiana, just throwing to some kid you'd never met in your life, or running 40s or whatever it is, right? So yeah, it's interesting, bro. It's interesting to just kind of look back on it now, but
Yeah. No,
that's what we try to build. Just keep the camaraderie, and that's once you have that, I think you just try to implement the best things you took from the game gave you, and keep them kind of share that with other people who maybe didn't have those same experiences, and then just be more mindful of all the other things that you've learned throughout your process, and try not to repeat them.
yeah.
That's what I would say.
No, that's phenomenal. And I love it, man, just because it's a daily grind, a daily adventure, honestly. And that's how I've tried to look at things more of instead of, something I have to do. It's an adventure that I don't know which road I'm gonna go down. I don't know which path I take. It might get scary. It might be the
Yep.
best one, but ultimately I'm gonna be in the same spot I am right now, 10 years from now, and I'm gonna be wishing, dang, I wish I was back in that jungle, back on that path, whatever it
Yes.
may be. But one of the hard things to do when you are consumed with sports, and even for me, when I just, I didn't play past high school, and it sucks. Like you get to college, you go play intramurals, but you just don't have that same feeling. And you
Yep.
you kind of have to find joy in other places. Where are some places that post football you've been able to find some joy?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. A lot of it is, man, spending time with people I didn't get to see throughout those years. That's a big one.
Mhm.
I'm a big friends guy, right? Like
Definitely.
I love my family to death. I have no issue with my family. I love them. I love seeing them too. So I got to put them in there on this. But like I'm a big pick my friends and then you're my family type of guy. So
Yeah.
being able to cherish those moments and travel around the world because I didn't get to do that much. I really I find a lot of joy in that. I do. And now where I find joy at as well is obviously with the pod, man. I found a new lane to stay around the game, but
Hmm.
also still I'm so curious, bro. I'm a curious human being.
It's the best
Whether
thing to be.
exactly. So whether that's I want to have a conversation with you curious or I'm going to stalk your Instagram curious because I don't know what you've been doing. Like not and
Yeah.
that's not me with my wife. That's me figuring out what JP's been doing lately, of course. But like I'm just I'm curious, right? And I think this is a great way for me to kind of be able to do that. And I think the best part is hearing what makes people tick. Like
Exactly.
that motivates me. For some weird reason, I kind of need stuff like that in my life. And when you're not playing ball, it's hard to find those things and grab onto them and be like, hey, I need something to motivate me or kind of get me going or whatever that is. And I think just naturally sitting down to people and seeing what makes them tick or what their story may be or the shit they've overcome, like, then it just kind of resets my brain. And I think that's where I'm at now. So, and then obviously just my family, my dog, my wife, all the above, man. I think as
Dude,
time
dog is one of the most common. I've only done a handful of interviews, but the dog is always brought up in every interview.
it's just, dude, it's just, we don't deserve them. That's the best way to put it. We truly don't deserve that love. And I went outside and took the garbage out because that's what we have to do. You know the deal. And I was gone
Trash
10
day.
seconds. And he's gone. You would have thought I left across the country and came back.
Yeah, dude.
You know?
I was actually just thinking about it because I was on my page. I was highlighting some of my favorite stories from the Olympics, and
Yep.
then after I finished making those videos, I open up Twitter and I see a video from Special Olympics.
Yep.
And Special Olympics, if you guys, those listen, if you have not been to one, please go to one because you will get to experience joy at a whole different level watching these athletes compete with just the best attitude, something we can all learn
Yes.
from. But
Yes.
this kid, he is doing a track race, call it the 100-meter dash or whatever, and they all take off. He's in dead last. He's smiling, he's trying his heart out, and then he just slowly starts hitting a diagonal straight towards the person filming, who's his mom.
Oh, I
Big
love it.
smile. They're like, no, no, go back. You got to stay in your lane and finish. He runs over. All he wants to do is give a hug to his mom.
That's
He comes over, hugs her, smiling. They're like, good job. Go back out there. And dude, this kid, he doesn't just hit a full diagonal. He goes straight across back into his lane and then continues the race. Pure joy in dead last place. And I'm like, man, that is exactly what it looks like to enjoy the journey and to appreciate the people along the journey. And it made me think, I'm like, man, the where I see the most what like Jesus's love is like, the closest thing you can get to it on earth is from your dogs,
Mm-hmm.
is from special needs kids, and
Mm-hmm.
then assuming you have good parents, like a mother's love.
Amen, bro.
And I'm
That's
just, man,
awesome. I love that. I love that story.
dude. So it's so good. We got to get a Rush, Bus, and collab at the Special Olympics because
Bro, we have to. We should. Hey, if we got to pioneer it, you and I, we'll do it.
that even if just us shows up at the first one,
Yes,
just to light the
bro.
fire.
Let's do it. I would love that. That's an incredible story. And to your
That
point, on top of that, JP, if you don't mind, like
oh yeah,
that's the importance of showing up. Also, because
a
imagine that
million
kid
percent.
was looking around and mom wasn't there filming, or work became too much for mom.
Right.
Or she had a meeting and could, like for anybody that's tuning in, I think that's the power and the importance of showing up for your children. And if you don't have children, showing up for your niece and nephew, showing up for your friends' children. Having someone, how many times, JP, you grew up, you were looking up in the stands because you were scared or you didn't know what was going on, or you made a mistake in the game, or you're playing well and you want to pump your chest out and you're just looking for your pops, your mom, your sister, whoever that is, man. And
Dude,
that goes a long way.
there's nothing like it. And I'll tell you why it goes a long way, because when your boy was about U8, U9, U10 soccer, my mom was always running late. So I
Yeah.
got dropped off late, could barely warm up. We're playing the best team in the league at the time. And your boy goes dummy in the first 5 minutes. I have a hat trick.
No,
Hey, and I look over to the sideline. No, mom. He was
no.
parking, and I gave her the hardest time after. I said, man, I was like, you see did you see my goals? She was like, oh, yeah. I said, no, you didn't. You weren't there. I looked. She was devastated.
You're over there clocking it, keeping receipts too. Mom's like,
Clocking it,
damn,
clocking it. Oh,
that's too good, bro.
dude. So
Oh,
funny.
it's important though. It really is. I know it doesn't seem like it, but
Yeah. And
it's true.
kind of on the topic of like these types of relationships, what is a relationship in your life that you feel like has taught you the most about yourself?
That's a good question. Wow. What is a relationship that's taught me most about myself? Hmm. I would say, I know this is, I would say my wife, man,
Definitely.
because, and I've said this numerous times, and you hit on it to start the show, man, Hard Knocks, but I met Allie my senior year, and the way I met her was in the study hall. As you know, all athletes got to go and check in and do the whole nine because not all of us are bright, So
Right.
we're doing that whole ordeal, and the other athletes are in there as well. And just long story short, I wasn't even spitting game. I wasn't doing the whole nine. I was sitting there. She probably knew I was interested just by my eyes were probably falling on my head, but all my teammates were hyping me up. Shout out to the boys. That's what they're supposed to be doing.
Right.
I think she thought it was planned because she's like, what do you have, a posse that's just going to speak for you? And then they're hyping me up to her. But long story short, we end up being together, and man, through the highs and the lows, and I remember that moment. She said, I don't care how many touchdowns he's thrown or what he's done. And then like walked out, right? Like to my teammates. And she truly doesn't, bro. Like
Mm-hmm.
it didn't matter if I was gonna go in the first round or if I went undrafted like I did. Like one thing I knew was for certain was I was gonna have true honesty. And whether it's if I'm doing things incorrectly or if I think my shit doesn't stink, or if she thinks I'm the better player, like she's gonna be my biggest cheerleader, but also keep it real with me at the same token. And I think that's something that's never wavered. It truly has never wavered. And like I said, there's so many people that come out of the woodworks. There's so many, and that's so many of my family, not like my intermediate, but man,
Right.
there's family I didn't even know they were my family when I was playing, and they're hitting me up on Facebook, hitting my parents up, doing X, Y, and Z, posting me, tagging me every day, right?
I'm sure even now too.
Even so, it's funny now you're starting to see some of that come back. But bro, that I had that 4 or 5 year window, and I got to see a whole lot of things that those people I don't ever hear from anymore.
Yeah.
And then, as you know, JP, because you got married, but like then we got married and I remember thinking like, man, I thought I'd have 300 people in my wedding, right? And we ended up having like 180 or whatever it was. And I was good with that because I'm 31 now. We got married when I was 30. Like I've gotten to see who it's important for in their lives to water me while I'm watering them. And that's one thing I try to take into consideration. That's one thing Allie's helped me with my whole life is she's like, dude, you are spending so much time watering this person, trying to get the best out of them or wanting the best for them. They don't even want it for themselves. Or more importantly, they're not even tapping in with you or checking in on you and make sure you're good. Because I think I'm the guy, and I think I could be dead wrong, but I assume I'm the guy that my friends look at are like, he's always good. He's always happy. He's got no problem.
Yeah.
But I'm also the most open, and I will tell you straight up, like, like this is what's going on, or X, Y, and Z. So yeah, that's some I think for sure is Allie's been a complete staple in my life, and thankfully I made the right decision. Right? If I was seeing any other person right now, then I would have made one hell of a terrible decision. But I feel completely validated in my decision making, and honestly, I feel very blessed that she chose me. So I'm grateful for it.
I mean, dude, there truly is no better moment than when you're standing up there at the altar with your best friend, and then when you look out to see the people there.
Amen.
It's just that wedding night is the night that I just wish everyone could experience multiple times in our lives of like, man, yes. I wish we could go back and relive.
Amen, bro.
Relive that moment. And that actually kind of brings up another question I have. Is just like, what is a moment where, or maybe something that you're doing where you feel most present? And, it could be a date night with the wife, could be doing a podcast with somebody you really admire, something like that. What makes you feel present?
Honestly, man, the most present I feel. That's a good question. And I will say this. This is something, and I love this because I know you align with this very well because we had the conversation, I think, about your algorithm and like cleaning it up. Like, right? Like those are real things. Me, when I feel most present is when I'm not on my fucking phone. Yeah. Like putting my actual phone down and making it a thing. Like, because in our world, like you got to be on top of the current news. You got to know what's going on because you either got to make a post or you got to go talk about it. Or you're studying what other people are doing. So the biggest thing to me is you can get lost in saying that's what you're doing and making an excuse, but all your other relationships are going out the window. And not only that, man, it's brain rot. Brain rot. It really is. And I think it makes you less sharp in every day of your life, whether it's decision making, makes you lazy or whatever. But most presidents when I have my phone off, and honestly, when I'm outside. Yeah. I got to be outside. I'm in Michigan. Yeah, I know you get it there as well. But like, it's 2.5 feet of snow. But as soon as that sun comes out and it's 15 degrees, I'll put shorts on and I'm walking. I don't care.
Outside with it.
I'm outside with it. Exactly. But I just feel that way. I'm a hyper dude. I got to be active. And I feel like that's when I'm most clear is when I'm moving around. And that's when I do my best thinking, to be honest with you.
Agreed. And what, so when you leave football, you were doing sales, right?
Correct.
And then when the rush kind of starts becoming a thing, did you go to Maxx with the idea? Did he come to you? How did that work?
Good question. Yeah. So when I was trying to figure out XFL deal, as you know, like COVID hit and they sent everybody home. And then if you weren't on an NFL roster, they weren't bringing you really in with the whole.
Actually, yeah. Let's rewind to that. Like when knowing football was over, is this the moment?
Yeah, that's a good question. So the XFL, the COVID, they sent us home. I was still training, man. I was trying to do everything I could. I didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel or thinking this was the end at all. At all. I was 25 or 26. I'm thinking I could play till 30, right? But I also refuse to be the guy that, when you're scrolling, you're like, this guy's playing fucking arena.
Brogan's still throwing the ball, man.
Yeah, hey, that boy still got a spiral, huh? Yeah. But like, I just don't want to do that. And so I was with my wife and I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go find a job. I've never worked before. I only played football, and basketball. I did sports my whole life. So I was like, this is a good time to test the waters. So went into the corporate world, got a sales job, and I was still training on the side, doing that whole other deal. And I don't think I ever thought I was done playing. I think probably now, like obviously, like once the pod started going and stuff, I think that's when I was like, all right, I'm probably done.
Yeah.
But during that time, I was just so naive to the point of it. But yeah, man, then I was just doing the sales gig, trying to find happiness and trying to find my footing and all of that. Talking to people, being a people person was massive, but I didn't love it. Like I said, there was things that I wasn't fired up about it. It wasn't fired up. It felt like school to me.
Yep.
And like I said, I'm a guy who goes to school to go to recess or to go to gym class. Like
just to see the guys hang out, be at the cafeteria table. That's why we're there.
Cafeteria is another one. Exactly. So, and it's not to go see, go to the history class or do whatever. So to me, it just felt like sounds really bad, but it felt like I was going backwards in a sense of like, man, you used to be this guy of some sort. You used to have aura. Now it looks like you're a pencil pusher. Like these are just things I'm battling in my brain, if I'm being honest, and
it's hard.
It's very hard. It's very hard. And it's funny. You hear so many guys come in and say, yeah, man, you're going to miss it when it's over. It goes over like this, goes by like this. I used to hate when people would say that. And now I'm like, it doesn't really go by like that. It does. But like, you really do take it for granted, even though you don't try to. Like, It's just human nature. You really can't. You can be intentional as much as you want to be every day. And I think everybody should be. And I think that should be something that is on the forefront of everybody's brain. I mean, I try to be, but like, it's very hard to could be consistent in that front. So, one day I remember Draymond Green, man. Draymond Green. Well, I'll say this first. Busting with the boys, you guys, I saw you guys were doing the pod, right? And you guys were killing it. And I hated pods, right? I used to give shit to all my buddies. Like, you guys are old men, business guys. You listen to pods, like go put Drake back on and let's have some fun.
Right. We're trying to turn up for the six. We're not trying to listen to
I didn't know
Alex Hormozy.
I didn't know I left for a fucking year, and all of a sudden you guys don't like to have any fun. Like, you guys turn into your parents. But to that point, Draymond was breaking down the finals and the playoffs, and then they got booted, and he was still breaking them down. And I remember every day on First Take, which is the #1 show, I think it still is, which I don't know how McAfee and them aren't, but nonetheless, I remember sitting there going, how does no one else do this? How does no one else do this? And then I started thinking we're at Max's bachelor party in San Diego. And I looked at Max and we were talking. He's like, man, we should be videotaping this. And we weren't even doing anything at that point. And I'm like, yeah, it'd be sick just for the memories.
Now you got to remind that to him now.
Yeah.
Hey, you were the one that wanted to do this.
Yeah. Hey, you wanted these cameras up in your face, bro. And I just remember looking at him. I'm like, you should break down you should have a podcast, Max. People would love to follow you around, like have a guy in your car pulling into the game and them seeing what you do before a game. How many people don't know what you do? Or at this point, I think he was dealing with the off-season injury. And I was like, how many people would love to watch whatever your recovery is and hearing you go through the questions of your injury and then also watching you and watch the evolution of you overcoming that. Like those are sneak peeks people are dying to do. And I could see the gears turning, but I wasn't getting the traction I wanted, right?
Yep.
So I just kind of stayed on them. And for 2 years, man, I just stayed on them. And then I just started coming with ideas of like, okay, here, we should have guests on. But for the season, you should break down the games. We won't really do guests, but it's like you control your own narrative. So many people want to talk. And I said, also, it's kind of like getting into a business where like I use cannabis because my wife's family is in that world. But like, in here in Michigan, when it was new, if you weren't already in that world, you're too late. So I looked at that in the podcast world, and I'm like, there's no active players. Like Taylor was pretty active at that time, but like, who's breaking their game down though?
Exactly.
Like Draymond. I was like, I think this is a cool angle, man. You should do it. And of course, he finally said yes. We had no clue what we were doing. We shot our first episode. You guys will probably see because we just had 100,000 subscribers today.
Let's go. The 100K. I saw when y'all were like 50 subscribers away.
Yeah.
The other day, I was like, man, that dude, nothing better than that first plaque.
It was amazing, bro. And that's the goal. And that's why I texted the guys and I said, I love you guys. What a hell of a journey it's been so far. Now let's race to 1 million because that's the next plaque. And that's just what it is. So, and we just move the goalpost, move that goal. And now we just go chase after that. But, super grateful, man. I never thought I would even enjoy, didn't even know what the podcast would come out to be. Didn't even think I would be on it. I just wanted to highlight something for Maxx.
Yeah.
And at the same, and it just ended up working out, man. And now I get to be with my best friends, my college teammates. One was my roommate in college, Darian, obviously, and now we just get to fucking travel the world and be friends and talk and just do what we want to do, man. And it's just cool to. I've never had something where it started from scratch and I got to, not
truly building it.
Yes, building it, bro. Like being super truly proud of something like that. I think, especially when you have no knowledge in it to begin with, I think is super cool. But you already know I would be remiss without saying without guys like you, specifically guys like you, but like, to be honest, people don't even know, but like you took the time to take my call and you've answered many questions I've had for you, whether that be through DMs, through text or whatever. But like you stay on the phone with me for what, an hour, bro, and let me just pick your brain of
great convo, by the way, too.
Things. Yeah. And I'll never forget that. So like, as soon as you hit me up through the pod, bro, no questions asked. It's not even, and that's how I think things in life. And that's how I feel like we all should be, is let's just all look out for one another. Let's not hate. Everyone's so up close and personally hating nowadays that it feels like the support's so far back, right? Definitely, and everything, man. And the haters bought a front row seat, and that's fine. That's all good. But I feel like the more we can move them out of the front there and make everybody else more on the pro supporting side, the better off everybody will be, man. And it's empowering to everybody. And you'll see a lot of cool things and a lot of great people become successful because of it.
Oh, dude, 100%. And that's definitely one of my main whys behind this podcast. I'm trying to end the doom scrolling, trying to end the loneliness epidemic. I'm trying to end the negativity.
Our boys fighting all the wars.
We're fighting all the wars, man. I told Josh Pate this year, he was on the locker room. He was talking about, man, he was talking just to Will and Taylor. I'm sitting in the back, of course. Yep. And he says, man, it's a war out here on the internet. And I just didn't even look up. I said, every day's a war.
Every day's a war. If you want a problem, you don't even have to look.
Right. You don't got to look.
You don't. It's incredible. But it's funny. I try to take that from you though, because there's a lot of stuff comes on the timeline, and it's true, man. You clutter your time, you unclutter your timeline, you unclutter your mind.
Dude, it's everything. It's just like a diet. What you're going to consume is going to turn into how you feel. And man, when I'm consuming the videos of the Special Olympics athletes, like I'm going to come out, whatever is in my cup is going to pour out.
Amen.
Got to make sure you have some good things in your cup.
Amen, bro. We need to do that, by the way. When it's all said and done, if you're not going to spearhead something like that, we're going to do that. We're going to make sure that's a thing.
Definitely, dude. I can't wait for that one. Yeah. And we just got a couple more here and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, do your thing.
In the podcast world, what has been some of the challenges that you weren't expecting in it? And what has it been like to actually, we'll just start with that. What are some of the challenges of the podcast world that you've been facing?
Yeah. Well, I'll say the first one, man. And it's been, and I'm not going to get into detail.
Yeah.
But the first one is, we started with 4 guys and now we got 3, and one of those dudes was also one of our teammates and my roommate and my very best friend still, to this day, still one of my very good best friends. And, that's not necessarily with the podcast. I think that's just business in general.
Yeah, definitely.
In trying to be successful and build something, and then also trying to just keep everybody happy at the same time and all the above. That's something where I think was a challenge. But it's a challenge I'm actually very grateful happened, not for the feelings and the emotions and the things that and people that are involved, but more so just the actual learning part of it and learning how to maneuver through that. But I think the other part would be, I think the one thing when I called you was trying to figure out, why the hell doesn't this thing boom overnight? Why doesn't this thing boom overnight? I thought that's just how it goes,
man.
Obviously that's jokes, but we trying to figure out what your niche is. And I'm used to it, I feel like, to a certain degree, but I had to relearn it too, because I played quarterback and I'm not Max and none of us are, but he gets it every day. So he gets it. But getting back thrown in the world of being like, this shit sucks, or, all that negative feedback. But then you just got to find happiness in the people that are truly supporting, like I said. And I think you block out the noise, that stuff does not matter anymore. it's funny, like when you first start, you want to like comment back and be like,
I
because
know.
the pod's your baby, like, like you want to make it special. You want people to enjoy it. It's entertainment to a certain degree. So when people are sitting there shitting on your craft, you want to just respond. And I
Hmm.
think just using that and taking the constructive criticism from half the shit they're saying doesn't matter, and their
Yeah.
opinions really aren't helpful. But like taking the emotion and part out of it and trying to find where they might actually have a point. You might have to scroll through a few, but in just not being emotional about it, leaving your ego and your pride at the door. I think that's another challenging part. But once you do it, man, it frees you. It frees you up. And then the last part would just be the sponsorship deals. Like obviously we've started to crack into that world now. Very grateful for it.
Yeah.
Max does a really good job also on his front of tying in personal brands and bringing them to the pod as well. But now with a lot of the growth and the great guests that we've had, man, a lot of that's just it's happening organically, which I love.
Yep.
But with him, man, being sober, which we love, he wouldn't be who he is if he was not. I think we can all agree on that, and never want that to change. You can't mess with like the alcohol business when it comes to sponsorships, and and I both know like that's where money's at,
They've
especially.
got the most money, them in the sports books.
And that's the other part. And obviously, being active, we can't be in the sports world, right? So when you're trying to build something, and when you're someone like, even just for myself, I want to show Max like, bro, we can do this. I want to prove you right. Like you gambled on me in this situation and us. I want to prove you right so bad. And I think that's where it can be challenging on not getting too ahead of yourself. And I think that's where he does an unbelievable job, and it shows his leadership and why he's a captain in the NFL and why he is who he is he constantly says, long game, 10 years from now, 7 years from now. And someone like me who has zero patience, that's really hard to accept. But when I see him say it so confidently, and I see him not batting an eye for certain things that arise or pop up in the pod or challenges that come up, it makes me feel even more confident and dig my toes in that much further into the ground, being like, all right, let's do the damn thing. It just more patience, man. It just calmed me down, to be honest with you, as a person, as a businessman, and just I think just even in my daily life, man, it just really slowed me down and being like, what's
Long
meant
game.
to happen will come, bro. Just
Yeah,
don't stress about it. To that point, control the controllables.
definitely. Two more for you. We'll stay on the Max topic real quick, just because I'm inspired by Max. So many people are inspired by Max. We always joke around at the office, like when things get hard, we always say to each other, "More is required."
That's right.
So we'll
Yeah.
just drop it in the group chat. We drop the eagle and the diamond,
That's
and
fucking incredible.
so
He'll love
it's
that.
dude, and Max truly is. He's one of one. He is exactly who everybody thinks he is when they see him on
Yeah.
TV. But his journey is inspiring. And you've kind of already alluded to it just with that long game sentiment, but just what's it like being in daily communication with somebody that's so committed to the craft, so committed to the process, and obviously he has expectations for himself and he wants to achieve things, but he has
Yeah.
that 1% everyday mindset. How inspiring is it for you?
That's a really good question. I'd say this. I love the more is required. I got limitless tatted on me, which is another
Limitless.
one of his sayings. And I got it at his sobriety party last year. What guy other than Maxx Crosby brings a tattoo guy and lets the whole party get tatted up at a sobriety party? Only him, right? To your point, man, it's contagious. It's inspiring. It's super cool to see, because not that he doesn't come from the mud or any of that stuff necessarily, but he doesn't come from a whole lot either.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's cool to see somebody that didn't give up on the dream, but more importantly, didn't give up on himself, man. Because the dream is secondary right now, if you think about it. Like he
Right.
had a battle for his life, like he had to get clean and
You've been there since the jump of it all.
yeah, yeah. And what's crazy is, you don't see it, right? Like we played ball together. He's my little brother, and you get caught up in your own shit so much, and you think it's so normal, especially in college. Like half the things you're doing, it's just so normal, and you can kind of lose sight of that. But I remember this day, man. I was in the XFL at that point, and I was getting ready to run out to practice, and before I grabbed my helmet, I grabbed my phone, and I had a long text, like one of them ones where you're You're still doing them? Yeah,
Hey,
one of those ones.
100%.
Yeah, and it was from Maxx, and I'm like, I love this guy, but like, there's no way this guy has this much literature on his phone. Like, there's no way.
This was
But
voice to text for sure.
for sure, before it was cool.
Yeah.
But all jokes aside, man, it was just him letting me know like he's going to be without his phone, and he's taking himself into rehab, and it's to better himself, and it's something he had to do, right? And fast forward to now, this dude's so routine based. It doesn't matter. It's so talk about inspiring. Like we go to Nobu or wherever the hell you want to say we go and eat, and he's buying the whole table food and buying rounds of appetizers and X, Y, and Z, all this stuff. And he has his own meal in the back prep that they're going to bring out to him. He's not even enjoying the fruits of his own labor, but everybody else is.
Wow.
And also to that point is the circle's tight though. Like when I say that, it's not like there's 100 people. Like he's very calculated. He knows. He's been through the trenches. He's been through hard times. He still goes through them. And I think it's super cool to see how he responds, and you draw inspiration from that. And I think he's able to be the most clear-minded, special person he can be now because of it. And I think that's why, and I call it a superpower. I had said it on the pod when we had Sarah Safari on last week, and they're both sober. And I said it's a superpower, and I really actually mean that. Like, not saying it's something that I would do or I can do, but like, there's something to be said about you going in a room, and especially it being who they are, or especially who Maxx is, and the type of rooms he's in, and the people. Hey, Dana White wants to have a drink. You know how hard that would be for a normal person to say, "Nah, I'm not doing that." But he doesn't. That's not where his confidence lies. Now, if you talk to him back then in the day, that's where he might, he was insecure maybe, or that's how he got his confidence to be social. And I think it's super cool to just watch someone who admires their craft so much the way he does, but also is very diligent on being the best version of a human that he can be first and foremost. Because everyone sees this demon of a guy out there on Sundays, and he's talking shit. He is, and he's tatted head to toe. He's a psycho Serbian.
Yeah.
That's what he is. But like I said to you earlier in the show, no better dude that I know my entire life than him. And it's been that way before he was Maxx Crosby. So he's never changed. So I love that about him. And that's why it's super cool to see that he's getting everything he's getting. Like, good people should win.
Exactly.
And I really feel that way. And it's cool to see one of the good guys be up on the scoreboard. I truly feel that way. So obviously I'm always riding with them. I know you guys are too. You guys are hilarious with Maxx, and just like your guys' whole interaction. He loves you guys to death. So I just love it, man. I feel very, very honored to be around and to watch it, to have a front row seat. It can be hard. It can be not hard at all, not necessarily for me, but you gotta heat his food up. You gotta do certain things to help him out because he's that strict. Or I gotta go grab a microwave and put it in the trunk of our Suburban while we're doing podcasts in a city we're not, so he can go heat his food up. There's just other things, and that's totally cool. If that's the price that we got to pay for him to accomplish his goals, shit, we'll go buy 1 million of those microwaves and stack them up to the ceiling. We got to.
Yeah. The reason anybody is great is because they're not doing what everybody else is doing.
Amen.
And that's exactly that. That's the 1%er mindset. Yep. Kind of a theme of this episode in general is just the authenticity. If there's one way that you can stand out in life, is to be yourself. To Amen. Be yourself, you got to know yourself, and you got to do that work.
Amen.
And I lied because this you can give me a short answer for this one, because I know I've had you for a while.
Do your thing, bro.
But for those out there looking for an impactful conversation, what is one that somebody can go to on the rush that you found very inspiring and impactful when you were recording it? What's that they can go listen to?
Yeah, that's a great one. That's a great question. There's a lot of cool ones, man. I think depending on what you're into, what demographic you come from, we just started tapping in and had 2 female guests on who have, I think it's really cool we had Taylor Rooks on.
Yeah.
And finding getting into the mindset of a woman in a sport, in the NBA, for example, like how she cracked into that world, how she remains professional and gets her credibility in a world like that. We all know how tough that can be. I think is super cool. And I think empowering women in that front is super, super awesome, super dope. And something more people should do, especially if you guys are out there having daughters. I think it's just something that you should do and just get more insight on. But Caleb Williams, baby, all day. I think it's a super dope episode because I will say this. I had my own preconceived notions going in. I try not to. We try to do that whole game, but like it's hard not to. And when I got done, immediately looked at Maxx, and I'm like, I'm a fan. Like it doesn't even matter. Like I will forever root. I know what makes him tick. He's a different guy than I think other people may think, and I think that's the best part. I think when you can go in and tune an episode, so go tap into that episode. And if you're bored, just keep scrolling. Rot brain, whatever you got to do. Don't brain rot on the whole Rush page.
Dude, and I agree, man, because obviously I had my preconceived notions about Caleb Williams because of what they feed us on TV and everything. And when I was watching y'all's clips, I'm like, dude, this guy is actually just extremely confident in himself and really does not care what you think about him. And he puts in the work. He deserves to feel the way he feels, and he can do whatever he wants to do. And he's not
literally
like he seemed like a good dude. So that was really cool too.
Yes. Yeah, bro. And to your point, he's confident, and you can take that for however you want. But I would say for you, if you're listening, and if that's what your mindset's like, oh, he's so cocky or he's so confident, like
look in the mirror.
Yeah, look in the mirror. And also, if you were probably Caleb at that point, you got to have a little confidence too. That's something that used to irritate me playing ball, and part of it was on my own. But when people would be like, "You're so that guy's so cocky," or that, it's like, dude, you want me to think I'm good, or do you want me to go out there and think I'm a piece of shit, and then I play like a piece of shit? Like
I've put in thousands of hours.
We're psyching ourselves out. You got to understand, we're psyching ourselves out.
Right.
It's a brainwash.
That's all it is. In the same breath as Caleb Williams, I do you stand up for my guy Spencer Rattler.
Yeah.
Shout out Spencer Rattler. I promise everybody watching right now, Spencer Rattler is going to be a dog once he gets that starting up.
Thank you for doing that, because I love Spencer to death. Like I trained with Spencer. We have the same quarterback coach when I went out in Arizona, Scottsdale. I've known Spencer before he went to Oklahoma, and then when he was doing that process, and he's a great, great dude. I hope he gets his moment, his time. And he will. More importantly, though, and hopefully if he is hearing it, because I think maybe you're going to make your ways over to his world, keep battling, bro. I mean, you see Sam Darnold and everybody else in the past they've gotten. This is nowhere near the end, as long as you don't want it to be. So, and I know he doesn't. He works his ass off. And I will say this because I know all your Gamecocks will either love it or they'll hate it, but I think they'll love it. To this day, there's not a whole lot of people I've seen throw a ball like Spencer Rattler.
Nope.
On a t-shirt and shorts, and he's not tall, he's not big. It doesn't make any sense. But when I was in the league going back then, I'm like, who the fuck's this kid? And I think some people take that quarterback QB1 video way out of.
That pisses me off so much.
About it on the bus, right?
Oh, yeah.
He's so much past that, bro. You put a camera on any 14-year-old or 15-year-old's face, that's what you're going to get.
Right. And think about how we're talking to our friends at that age. Like when they're dropping the balls, you're going over to them, giving them a hard time. Like, dude, you suck. Why are you on the team?
Yes. We had no emotional, we had no EQ. Like we didn't know how dickheady we sound or how sarcastic we came off. It was just, this is how we communicate, point blank.
Dude, I'm glad you said that, man. Cause I do obviously I'm a big Gamecock fan and I swing the sword for anybody that puts on the Guardian Black, but for Rattler, I try to do my best on the internet because, man, he doesn't deserve it.
I appreciate that.
He's a good dude, so it's cool to hear you speak on that. And then very last question, you already kind of answered it, but I got to put it in as its own segment. Brogan, what is one quote or lesson that has helped you make it to midnight and you think could help others make it to midnight?
That's a good one. Cream always rises to the top is a good one for me, and that's something that gets me through my day-to-day. But a quote that I love is doing my best and God doing the rest. That's the quote on the side, baby. Come on now, clock it. It's just like control the controllables. You already know. Like if I'm doing my end, my part, which is the controllables, God's got everything else that is out of my hands. And I just got to trust that it's already written, and He's got the plan already placed out, rolled out in front of me, the blueprint, all of that, and it's in the right path and direction that He's made it out for me. And being strong in my faith, man, helps me allows me to to believe in that more and more every single day. So that's one quote, man, I've been trying to live by. I heard it. I can't get out of my head.
Yep.
And I think it sounds way cooler than just saying control the controllable. So
Definitely
doing my best and God's doing the rest, baby.
Beautiful. Perfectly said. I really appreciate you sharing that. I appreciate your time opening up about everything that we talked about. This was a dope conversation, podcast aside, just to get to know you more as a friend. It was awesome. So I really appreciate you being vulnerable, taking the time, and cannot wait to eventually do this in person with you.
Yes,
person,
bro.
the vibe, the energy will be off the charts.
Yes, bro. You already know. Call me out whenever. Hopefully, like you said, we can get another Bus and Rush collab down the way. But if not, you and I, we will link up forever. We're tapped in, bro. I truly appreciate you. Make it to midnight. If you aren't already, like, subscribe, comment, spam it if you have to. But it's all for the goodness of the heart, man. Look at this dude, JP. I swear to you, there's not many better dudes than this out there. And all he's trying to do is share the good word and get everybody in the best moods possible. And how can you hate on that? So I appreciate you, bro. I'm indebted to you for always. You already know that from my end. Got mad love for you. Got mad love for everybody in your circle that you guys roll around with. And I look forward to seeing where we're at here in the next few years. But I love that we're all racing to the top together.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, bro.
Amen, brother. Appreciate you, bro.
Round of applause for my guy, Brogan. He said he's a round of applause guy. We got to give him a round of applause. Brogan, thank you so much for coming on, brother. Really appreciate you. Really appreciate the time. I know people are going to take inspiration from it. And guys, I hope you did take inspiration from it. Leave a comment for Brogan, letting him know your favorite part of the interview, the part that fired you up most to go into your next week. But thanks again for listening. Thanks for being a supporter of this page. Make sure you go shine your light on somebody else this week. And most importantly, keep on making it to midnight because we need you. See y'all next week.